So hello and good afternoon. Welcome to a weekly outlook episode. This will also be a monthly outlook because it's the first week of December, which is a new month. I haven't done the weekly outlooks in a video format for a month or so, but I am back. I had I was a bit busy, so I wasn't able to upload the videos, but I was sharing the weekly outlooks in a chat format, in screenshot formats in my Telegram group. So if you haven't joined that yet, you can find the link in the description below. Also remember to subscribe to this channel, and yes, let's get into it. So this is a monthly chart. That is where we want to start so that I can explain a few things before I head over to the weekly chart, and then I will go to the daily chart and probably the 4-hour chart as we start to look for trades throughout the week. So basically what I'm looking at the monthly chart is what the past 3 or 2 months have done. And you can see that we've had a bullish September, bullish October, and then we had this bearish November. So as much as it was bearish, we want to observe how the candles closed in relation to previous price action and the previous months. So you can see that on Nasdaq US100, what we had was just a minute, let me make this US500 so that we can move from chart to from the two assets easily. So yes, so you can see that on US100 we had this bearish candle on US100 which swept the previous month low, and after sweeping that previous month low, price immediately went back up to inside October's range. Okay, so what that tells us is that price was not willing or is not willing to go any lower than that, because this now becomes a liquidity sweep rather than being a market structure shift or a change in structure. So price was only interested in sweeping the liquidity right here and probably rebalancing all the imbalances, buy side imbalances left behind as price was rallying to the upside to create the all-time high in October. So when we say that, we go to US 500 where we want to observe if price did the same thing, and we can see that on US 100 price also created a bearish candle, but it has a very small body, so but it's still a bearish candle, and we almost swept that low, but we came short by a few points. So let's see that the low is at 65.17, and this other low is at 64.96. So 65.17, 64.96. Okay, let's just see, this will be more accurate. So we were 24 points short to sweep that low, 20 to 30 points. So we were not able to sweep that the previous month low on US 500, while we swept that low on US 100, and price went back all the way up to close higher than the open or the close of October's candle. But on this other side, we went all the way back up. So we literally went above 50% of the previous month's candle. So what does that tell us? It tells me that price is going to be bullish over the next 1 or 2 months, which means I will be it doesn't mean that I will be taking longs in every trade. I just need to know the context, the monthly context, before I really enter into that month and try to trade that month. So December I will only be trading the 3 weeks. So I will probably be ending my trades on the 20th of October. December, I'm sorry. Let's see when 20th lies. So yes, so I'll be ending my trading on the 19th, Friday 19th. So I have 3 weeks to trade the December candle, and then the rest I will come back on January. So let's get into the weekly chart. So on the monthly, I've said that I expect bullish prices to the all-time high. I expect a new all-time high on these two assets. So let's go down to the 1 week chart. Now we are starting to narrow down. So this week, now we want to see what in particular I am looking at uh, this week, to be specific. So on the weekly chart, I don't know if you will be able to ignore this too, because they are very important levels on the daily chart, so I do not want to let them go, so kindly bear with them. I think I can hide them for a minute. All right. Yes, okay, those are hidden. So let's see how price action actually unfolded last week. So last week was a bullish week, and if you are in my channel, you remember I was looking for the completion of that buy program, so that this buy program, so that we can get uh, a reversal to the downside, a sell program, which evidently did not occur, and I took a small loss on Friday. Everything was shared on my channel. So uh, the buy program ended up to be permanent, and it actually becomes now a market structure shift. And now looking at it, hindsight, I can see that price actually swept this important low right here. Price swept that low, so that was a previous week low. It was This was the previous month low. This is the low that we have observed on uh, on the monthly chart. So while on US 500 the low was not swept, right? So what does that become? That becomes an SMT on a monthly level or even on a weekly level, which means that price as it indicates that price wants to rally to the upside. So let us mark that as the SMT. Uh, So a lower low and a higher low on the other asset. So it becomes an SMT divergence. So to be a high probability SMT, first of all, it has to be on a higher time frame, and then it has to be followed by something like a market structure shift, or a change in state of delivery, break of structure, or anyhow, it depends on how your terminologies, but basically for me, I want to see a change in structure, a change in state of delivery. So, and that is what we got right here, because this was the last down close candle, and then it was traded into as price was rallying to the upside. So that becomes a weekly change in state of delivery. So that is we'll label it as a weekly change in state of delivery. So you can see that now we are aligning confluences on a higher time frame, so that when we go to the lower time frames, we will be looking for very high probability setups for the next 1 week or so, because they have been backed by the weekly and the daily levels, as well as the monthly levels. So that is the weekly change in state of delivery. And we have this SMT, or on this asset, this is a liquidity sweep. This was swept, change in state right here as price was trading to the upside. So once we have that, what are my weekly targets? Because we have established that now I am bullish, because we have a bullish weekly change in state of delivery. What do I want to target? What I want to target is the buy side liquidity that is resting uh, above this previous week's highs. Okay, so that is buy side. I'll just label it as buy side, but it's a previous week high. Um, that is a buy side, and this is a buy side. Just clone this. This is a buy side, and then we have the all-time high, which is also my target. Buy side, all those are buy side liquidities, which when you go to a daily time frame, you can see them better. All these are swing highs, and this is a swing high, this is a high, this is a high. So those will be my targets. This the whole of this week, especially the all-time high. So let's go. Let's go to the. Let's go to the daily chart. Now I see the same thing on US 500, so I don't think there is any need to label them. And to make it even more interesting, we have relative equal highs on US 500. We have relative equal highs on US 100. We have relative, sorry about that. We have relative equal highs on US 500, and then we have the all-time high, which is becomes a major buy side liquidity. So basically, that is what I'm looking at in on the weekly chart. Where's my BSL label? Right. So that's it. And then to make this cleaner, I'll just delete this, and then I'll label them later on the 4-hour chart. Okay. So let's go down to the daily chart and see what we are expecting today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So let's go to the daily chart. I think I've covered everything on the weekly chart, or maybe I should have mentioned which levels I wouldn't want to be uh, disrespected or respected. So I will mention that on the daily chart, the levels that I want to be respected as we trade to the upside during this week. So this is US 500, and you remember from the previous weekly outlook videos, I always wait for Monday to print so that I can get a layout of how that week wants to trade and probably get a feel of the price action that we are going to get. So you can see that Monday printed a bearish candle on US 500. It also did the same on US 100. Let me zoom in. So we had this bearish candle, and then after we know that it is a bearish candle, as I have done on the other time frames, I have to look at the open, the close, and the lows that form. So looking at this low, price went down to this daily fair value gap right here. On US 100, price went to this daily fair value gap that was there. It retested its consequent encroachment, and then it left that area of price. You know that consequent encroachment is the 50% of a fair value gap, or a buy side or sell side imbalance. So it went to the buy side imbalance, tapped its 50% or consequent encroachment, and then it left that area of price and closed back inside the previous day candle, which is the Friday candle. On US 500, we had something of the same characteristic. On Monday, price came into that fair value gap, tapped or retested its consequent encroachment, and then price left that to close back above. However, we seem to have gotten a close above below the previous day candle, but that is not an issue because looking at this order block, this is the last down close. So looking at it, we can see that price still respected it and was able to close back inside it. So it's still holding price to the upside. So let me just delete that daily fair value gap, but I'm sure you have understood that part. So those are levels that I expect to be respected, or let us just return it because I said I will mention about the so this end dog, the end dog that was reclaimed and then retested and supported price to the downside, it has now been traded into again, and now I would expect that price maybe would tap into that area as a form of resistance and or support, I mean, and price will find support in that area, especially because it's now aligned with this daily fair value gap from last week's price action. So it becomes a very important zone in price. So let's think I have a template for my daily fair value gap. Yes. So that area will be very sensitive as price will be retesting. You should also note that price did not open with an end dog or an end walk this week. So it means that we shouldn't see much of price dilly-dallying around the opening level, the weekly opening level, and price should leave that area immediately and start its rally to the upside. So let's get into how price will rally to the upside. So first of all, we already have a down close candle on the daily chart. So basically, we shouldn't even be trading until we get a change in state to the upside, a bullish change in state of delivery on a daily chart. But because we are anticipating long setups, we can go to the 4-hour charts and look for setups that will form to the upside. So these are the levels I'm observing. This daily fair value gap that was respected. You can see that its consequent encroachment was respected. Additionally, so I do not want to see anybody's closing below the daily fair value gap, below its 50%. If that happens, I will believe that price will have formed, be wanting to trade lower during the week. But in this week specifically, I do not want to see that. Additionally, since yesterday might have created the weekly low, I want to see this discount week. We will call it a discount week because it's a week to the downside. I want to see it being respected by price. So which means I want to see the 50% of that week hold price to the upside, which means I do not want to see any close on the daily chart below 50% of this week. If that happens, I will be looking for shorts. But as long as price remains above this and does not close on the daily chart, it does not close below the 50%, I will not I will be looking for longs and it will be supporting prices higher. So I will mark that as my mean threshold, which is the 0.5 level. And so I have those two levels that I am observing, the 0.5 level and the mean threshold of that discount week, and then this daily fair value gap that is being respected and is supporting price to the upside. So we will do the same on US100. I will mark the 0.5 level. Should probably zoom in to get it more accurately. Okay, so yes, I will mark the mean threshold also on this one. And as I have mentioned, I am expecting another daily change in state of delivery after price closes above the open of this of yesterday's candle. So as soon as we get that, this is the last down close candle. As soon as I get that, I will be looking for more positions to trade to the upside, and we can talk more about that in the next time frame that I am the next and the last time frame that I am going to look at in this weekly outlook. So marking the mean threshold, and then now we can go to the 4-hour chart as we wind up on this. So on this hourly chart, we have this the 4-hour chart. We have this. We have the. I actually noticed we have this is a volume imbalance, or probably a liquidity void. So we have that, and I'm not sure if this is a broker issue. So let us just check together. Let's see what the other brokers have to say about that. So it's a broker issue, which means we don't need to have it in our analysis. Let's look at capital. So yes, it's a broker issue. So I will not be including it in the analysis. So okay, so where was I? So now if I am going to be looking for longs today, but I really do not want to trade today uh, because of the fundamentals. Better we have high impact news tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I really do not think I will be trading today. But if I were, and maybe I will after the 9:30 open. So what I am looking at is the 4-hour candles, and you can see that this is the last down close 4-hour candle, this one right here. So as soon as price closes, if price closes above this, okay, what I mean is if price closes as it is right now, which is above this level, the open level of the previous 4-hour candle, it means that price is ready to start its rally to the upside. And now I can go to the lower time frames, the 15-minute time frame specifically, and start looking for an entry through a displacement or retracement leg. So I think we can see the same thing on this other chart. Yes, the last down close 4-hour candle, which it has retested the 0.5 level, which will be our support area, this 4-hour, and then price has rallied to the upside and is closing in 13 minutes. So if it closes above that, I can wait for entries during the 9:30 open, New York securities open, and then I can look for a move to the upside. But basically what I wanted you to notice is the high time frame levels, because the 4-hour is it's still a high time frame, but it's more of an where I frame my setups. So because this was not a video to explain a setup, it was explaining the outlook. So I want you to focus on these daily levels and the weekly levels that I have mentioned, and how I want to see the relative equal highs being swept and the all-time high. So that will be it for the weekly and the monthly outlook. If you want to get free setups, I share them on my Telegram. Every setup I take on US100 and or US500, I share them on my trading group, which is for free. I will put the link in the description and you can join from there. So thank you for tuning in, and that is what I will be looking at on a daily, weekly, and monthly level. I will be taking several setups this week. Probably I should have gone through the fundamentals, so let's do it real quick. So yesterday, which I do not trade, we had news at 6 p.m. So today is a clean day, no news, and that's why I really do not want to trade, because I do not expect a lot of volatility. Because basically what news do is they give you a manipulation, or they give the news release, they are engineered to manipulate the market or drive the market to a certain area of liquidity. So What I mean by I trade only on the high impact or medium impact days is that I expect to be in volatility to be injected in the markets, and I want to trade during volatility as long as my technicals are in line. So tomorrow we have news at 4:15 and 6 p.m. So a good day to trade high impact news, NFP actually. So on Thursday we have unemployment claims and some other challenger job cuts. Friday we have the core price, prelim UOM, consumer sentiments, and inflation expectations. So I really do not care what these news have to say, the negative impact, the positive impact, because as I have mentioned, what I look for is to trade, especially after the news, because we probably have a big move after the news because price has already manipulated or it has shown you its hand. So it means that it has expanded to a certain level and you are waiting for now maybe a retracement to take an entry, or maybe after a manipulation then you can target the distribution part of the trade setup. So yes, that is it for the fundamentals and the technicals. So that is it for my weekly outlook. Thank you for tuning in. Join my Telegram channel for more updates as we trade the week. Have a splendid week ahead, guys.